It began just after 11 p.m. on a quiet Wednesday night in Toledo, Ohio. The streets, washed in the yellow glow of street lamps, lay mostly still. A few workers drifted home. Somewhere in the distance, the soft hum of life echoed faintly through the industrial edges of town. But down near Reynolds Road, beneath the slouching branches of bare trees, a government-issued black SUV rolled steady and silent through the lanes, guided by a woman who carried more weight in her name than most men would ever know. Lieutenant Colonel Camille Rayner had just wrapped up a long meeting at a base 2 hours south. She was tired, but alert. Calm, but resolute. Her SUV wasn't flashy, just clean, modest, and practical, much like herself. Camille didn't wear her uniform tonight. She didn't need to. Years of discipline and command had long since etched themselves into her bearing. Even in a plain blouse and dark jeans, she exuded control. She wasn't speeding. She wasn't swerving. She wasn't distracted. But that didn't matter to Sergeant Travis Monroe. He was parked in a shadowy cutout off Reynolds Road, half-drunk, coffee steaming in his patrol car's cup holder. His shift had been dead. No action, no calls, just scrolling through social media and listening to the police scanner murmur static. When the black SUV passed by, unfamiliar and silent, something in him stirred. Not suspicion exactly, more like boredom craving justification. He crumpled the coffee cup, flicked on his lights, and pulled out. Camille saw the lights flash in her mirror. She didn't panic. Her fingers remained at 10 and 2. She slowly guided the SUV to the side of the road, just as she'd done during countless convoy inspections abroad. The tires settled on gravel. She waited. No music. No fumbling. The patrol car's door slammed. She saw him in the side mirror, a tall, broad man, late 40s maybe, walking with a confidence that didn't come from competence but entitlement. His flashlight clicked on. He didn't go to the passenger side like procedure advised at night. He walked straight up to her window. License and registration, he barked. No introduction. No explanation. Camille kept her hands on the wheel. Calm. Measured. She rolled the window halfway. Officer, may I ask why I was stopped? Monroe flashed the light into her face. You were drifting lanes. No signal. Looked like you might have been drinking. I wasn't, she replied, her tone even. License and registration, he repeated, louder. She didn't argue. She moved slowly, deliberately, and retrieved the documents from her glove box. As she handed them over, she added, This is a federal vehicle. I'm a government employee. Monroe scanned her military ID, unimpressed. Army. Yes. He smirked. Doesn't mean you're above the law. I never said I was. His face tightened. Step out of the vehicle. Camille blinked. Excuse me. Step out. Sobriety test. She took a breath, jaw tight, heart steady. On what basis? I haven't been drinking. I've complied. You're refusing a lawful order? He snapped. I'm asking for an explanation, she replied, still seated. He didn't like that. He reached down, yanked her door open. Out. Now. That's when Camille calmly reached down, tapped the record button on her phone. Just to be clear, she said, this interaction is being recorded. A flicker crossed Monroe's face. Not fear, yet. Just hesitation. But he pressed on. She stepped out. Camille stood tall under the streetlights, hands visible, posture straight. Not confrontational, not submissive. Just firm. The kind of presence that didn't need to shout to command a room. Monroe watched her. Something inside him stirred. Not doubt, but discomfort. That quiet voice in his head began to whisper, You're in over your head. But pride drowned it out. He made her walk the line. She walked it flawlessly. He asked her to say the alphabet backward. She did. He told her to stand on one foot. She did. Then he wrote the ticket. Failure to maintain lane. He muttered, handing her the slip with as little grace as possible. Camille didn't argue. She didn't flinch. She took the paper, got back in the SUV, and drove away into the night. But the moment would not stay in the dark. 3 days later, that same ticket landed on a desk at Fort Valor, a major logistics base in Indiana. The name, Lieutenant Colonel Camille Rayner, on the complaint caught the base legal officer's attention instantly. By then, Monroe had already joked about the stop back at the precinct. Lady tried to pull rank on me, he laughed to another officer. Waved her badge like it was supposed to mean something. Wait, Officer Chin said, brows drawing together. Rayner? Camille Rayner. Monroe frowned. Yeah, that's what she said. You stopped Lieutenant Colonel Rayner? Jesus, Travis. She's not just military. She's logistics command at Fort Valor. 2 Bronze Stars. Guest speaker at the Academy last year. Monroe shrugged. On the road, I'm the law. But the comment didn't land the way he'd hoped. The following morning, Camille sat in her office reviewing the dashcam footage. Her assistant, Sergeant Maya Klein, stood in the doorway. You good, ma'am? No. Camille answered simply. But I will be. Klein stepped in. Want me to notify the legal team? Already done. You sure you want to take this public? Camille turned in her chair, faced her window. It's not about being loud. It's about being correct. And so began the process. She contacted military legal counsel, uploaded the recording, and filed an official complaint with the Toledo PD Internal Affairs Division and the Department of Justice. The wheels of accountability began to turn. 3 weeks later, Monroe received the manila envelope in the precinct parking lot. Civil suit. Plaintiff, Lieutenant Colonel Camille Rayner. Allegations, wrongful detainment, intimidation under color of law, abuse of authority. He stared at the words, then laughed. This won't hold. But when he entered the station, the laughter faded. The atmosphere had changed. The jokes had stopped. His captain called him in. You're being summoned. Camille Rayner is not someone we can ignore. There's video, Travis. Her recording and your body cam. Monroe's bravado faltered. The court date arrived. The courtroom was packed. Not with press. Not yet. But with soldiers from Fort Valor, fellow officers, and civilians. Camille didn't walk in quietly. She arrived in full military dress, medals polished, bars straight, shoes spotless. She didn't come to win sympathy. She came for the truth. The judge looked up as she took the stand. Lieutenant Colonel Rayner, thank you for your service. You may proceed. Her attorney, Martin Locke, guided the questioning. Camille spoke calmly, clearly. She outlined the events, the commands, her cooperation, his behavior. Then they played the recordings. First, her phone footage, clear audio, calm responses, sudden aggression. Then Monroe's body cam, his tone, his hand hovering near his weapon, the open hostility. The jury watched. They didn't speak, but the shift in their faces said enough. Monroe didn't testify. His lawyer tried to spin it. It was a misunderstanding. A late-night mistake. Camille stood again. This wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern, one I refused to ignore. The jury took less than 3 days to decide. In a quiet courtroom, the foreperson stood. We find in favor of the plaintiff, Lieutenant Colonel Camille Rayner. Gasps didn't follow. Only silence. And power in that silence. The judgment awarded Camille $35,000 in damages. But it wasn't about the money. The court ordered a formal policy review of the Toledo Police Department and referred the matter to federal oversight. Monroe's suspension came swiftly. Transfer discussions followed. No promotions. No command. His control fractured. His reputation cracked. Camille returned to her duties at Fort Valor. Quiet. Focused. 2 months later, she addressed a class of new recruits. Respect, she said, scanning the young faces, isn't given by a uniform. It's earned by your actions. She paused. Power isn't a shield. It's a responsibility. If you misuse it, you don't deserve it. Then, her voice low but clear. When I was stopped that night, I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I didn't beg. I just told the truth. And I recorded it. She closed her folder. That's leadership. That's integrity. That's what this uniform demands. She stepped down, not to applause, but to a room full of minds forever changed. And far down the road, in a city still reckoning with what it meant to serve with honor, a single phrase lived on in every hallway where her name was spoken. Power without restraint isn't strength. It's cowardice in uniform.